Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hawk's Eye View. I'm your host, Joshua Williams, and we are very excited to have joining with us our guest, Dr. Suwarnu. Thank you so much for coming today, Dr. Suwarnu.
Thank you for having me.
And how are you today?
I'm doing brilliant.
Doing brilliant. That's good to know. So I'll ask some questions just to figure out who you are and kind of what you do here. So what is your name and what do you do here at UMES?
My name is Michael Yao Wodui Sawano. It has a very long meaning. So the second name, which is Yao, spelled Y-A-O, actually is a name that's given to a male child that's born on Thursday in Ghana. So you have every male child is called Yao. So you have a lot of Yaos in Ghana. And then Wodui is my mother's first name. And then my last name is Sawano. At UMES, I teach journalism and communication ethics courses, and I teach cinema as well. So the intention is to have our communication program streamlined a little bit and develop a variety of communication experts from film to rhetoric to journalism and to, corporate communication. So we are in the process of doing that.
Okay. And before you even got there, what was your life like growing up?
Oh yeah, that's a very interesting question. Life, I grew up in Ghana. So Ghana is a country in West Africa. And I grew up specifically in a place in Ghana called Effiekuma. It's very, very popular among any Ghanaian because we have some top musicians coming from there. I grew up in a very large home. My father had 38 children.
30?
So sometimes I don't know what my position is, whether I'm the 17th or the 18th. Yeah. So growing up, we're a lot, we shared everything. So that's how I grew up. I grew up around boys and ladies that acted like boys because you have to be strong to get what you want in a house of around 20 or 15 at a go. Like there were 20 of us in one house, a very big house, and we had someone who cooked for us. And life was quite rosary when I was in primary school. We had a car that would drive us to school. My father had, at the time, 10 children, and his brother's children were 7 that were school-going age. So it will be 17 of us packed into a Bedford, what we call in Ghana, bone shaker. So it's like a truck, a Bedford truck with wooden slabs as the seats in it. And the 17 of us will hop into that. And one of the things you are not allowed to do is to allow the car to move first before you jump onto it. My father doesn't like that. So he would ensure that everybody sits down first before he moves the car. Because that was a practice that we liked most.
So you kind of talked about your experience with kind of what you want the program, but what's your experience with media itself? Like, did you do print, broadcast? What's your history with media and how did that get
Oh
you
yeah,
where you are now?
that's an interesting path because in senior high school, I loved broadcasting because we had just in 1996 we had just had the first private radio station in our region and in our city, and it was really good. The radio station really influenced all of us. It's called Sky Power FM. So I decided that I was going to work in broadcasting. The day I wrote my final state exams for senior high school, I listened to the radio in the taxi while going to the exam center and realized that Sky Power was, recruiting people. And that was in 2000, the year 2000. And I said to my friends, right after the exams, I'm going to Sky Power. And they said, your high school, they said they want higher diploma, those who have, and I said, it doesn't really matter, let's go. My friends didn't go, so I went alone, and I met 87 other candidates, and we took an examination, and after the examination, an interview, and then I was appointed as a sales executive for the radio station, and then I moved on to become someone who reads announcements as well. And just a year later, I went to university and continued broadcasting in the university until my third year in the university, when we founded a newspaper. Because I also had a desire to edit a newspaper. I felt that editing newspaper was a serious thing. So, because broadcasting wasn't really respected among journalists in that region where I went. So I felt that to satisfy my ego, to show to people that I am a good journalist, I was going to edit a newspaper. And I edited a campus-based newspaper called Campus Exclusive. And that newspaper actually was more popular than the regional newspaper, even though it was just a student newspaper. We had very interesting story. I remember our first edition landed us in court. And in the former administration in Ghana, the government that just got changed, the Minister of Information is one of the persons that we founded the newspaper together with. And he was really shocked when this issue happened, and we were not perturbed. We went to court and won proceedings against the university administration. So we knew one thing, which was to be accurate in our reportage. And when you are accurate in your reportage and you're truthful and you have evidence which you would have kept with you throughout this process, you don't throw your evidence away. You keep it with you. In case you are sent to court, you would use it, because evidence can get missing. So when you have it, you have to keep a version of it for yourself. So we as a student newspaper, we were fearful. People feared us because we had very little to lose as young people. So we were really carefree, and we wrote well. And so I had that with the campus newspaper, and then I spent a decade more working for campus radio station. And my biggest achievement working as a broadcaster was when I worked in getting 3 to 4 top presenters on national TV today that we founded as student presenters. So like being on UMES campus, and we discovered that this guy talks well, we want to make him a top presenter, and he eventually ends up a top presenter. And so for me, that's my biggest achievement, when I discover great talent on campus. And that's why I kept that job. Because many people felt that I could have left campus broadcasting and maybe take up a bigger responsibility in commercial broadcasting. I didn't. And some other people feel that, oh, your biggest achievement is when you work for the BBC World Service in London in 2012. But I don't think so. The BBC World Service is a great institution, one of the greatest in history. And I love the time I spent at the BBC World Service working as a journalist. But I don't think that's my biggest achievement, because I had done the same thing I did at the BBC for 15 years at the university campus, but nobody felt that was big just because it wasn't BBC World Service. And that's why I think it's not the biggest achievement. My biggest achievement is, training students to become journalists and to become fearful journalists who knew their job. And they knew how to write, they knew how to talk. And for me, that's what an achievement should be, not only about me, also about others and how they have become popular today. And I find that as very interesting, because the talent all over the place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even here on campus, we have a lot of talent. And if we get to looking to developing some of them, we're not far from producing some top presenters for CNN and some top editors for New York Times. So that's been my journey so far.
Wow. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you so much, Dr. Sawernu, for sharing your experiences and just being here for today. That's it for our segment. We'll catch you next time on Hawkseye View. I'm Joshua Williams, and until next time, see ya.